Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. AJ, the CEO here. Thank you so much for stopping by. And I have a horrible echo in my ear. Hopefully, y'all are doing good. Thank y'all again for stopping by. We try and do this every Friday, and we changed up a lot of stuff. Dude, it has been busy. We dropped like 3 videos this week. I had them premiering, testing out the YouTube stuff where it pushes the audience to the next video. So we did a review of the Ori 4K multi-viewer. Then we also did a 4-day install in Lynchburg at Rose Chapel Baptist Church. Got home yesterday from that. We're doing this, and then I'm going to be on the road back down to North Carolina for 2 churches tomorrow. Then back to Lynchburg to run the live stream with Rose Chapel's new system for the very first time, just to make sure there's no kinks in anything. Rinse and repeat. We got a lot of stuff going on, but thank you so much, folks, for stopping by. And I completely forgot what I had my pedal set to do. Oh yeah, middle button does this one. So hey, before we get started, folks, if you don't mind, I'm gonna run this again. Press it again. If y'all mind hitting that like button, hitting subscribe, because when we do the Q&As, pretty much the only way, and I didn't even test my audio. Hold on a second. All right, so I can hear myself. Let me know if the sound is off. I'm changing up a little bit of more stuff on how I do this. Hopefully we can flow a little bit better. As well, and I forgot it again. Please go ahead and hit the like button. That way the YouTube algorithms and all this other stuff like that. Also, make sure you're subscribed. If you're watching and you're wondering why you can't leave comments, it's because these Q&As require you to be subscribed to my channel. That's not a payment thing. Just be subscribed. It stops spam and nonsense going on. And make sure you turn on that bell notification. That way you get notified when we come out with other videos and all that other cool stuff. Again, folks, I didn't say it, but Larry Birdsong did respond. He was our second time drawing for our giveaway. The ATEM is actually going to be to him on Monday. The camera, the PoE switch, the mount, and the PTZ, and a extra fiber optic HDMI cable that I had is right here on the floor. I'm about ready to ship that out. I have a computer, a vMix streaming computer that I got to ship out to North Carolina? No, Texas. Right after this, that church, this is their second system that they bought from me. So I'm really thankful about that. But we got a lot of stuff going on. And I've been playing around with my camera because I am counting down the days, especially if y'all were on the, well, first off, before I even go into anything else, for those that joined the roundtable last week, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That was like an AJ therapy session. It wasn't intended to, but that's just the way it went. And unfortunately, and fortunately, that one will not be posted. You had to be there for that one. Just a lot of stuff went in, and kind of it was meant for the people that were there. So you don't want to miss out, because you just never know what might happen on my part, y'all's part, whatever. But again, thank y'all so much. And what I was trying to say is I am counting down the days, folks, for this cruise. I'm excited. We got some gear in for those, and we have some stuff so we know who is who, and I got a link here, and that is the shirt, the eMissionary 2023 cruise. We're going to be coming up with some more of them. Thank you so much for John's wife helped the design that's on the back that we put on there, and it pretty much is like the same thing as the eMissionary, but it has just a play on the fact that, hey, this week we're going on vacation. So if you are interested in any of that stuff, the merch, because the merch link for whatever on YouTube has been acting up for me, so I've completely removed it. All of my merch is on AJaytheCEO.com under clothing. So these are the shirts where I'm actually looking at moving some stuff to another vendor, but this is where you can get the stuff right now. We have our CSAA ministry. That's what I was wearing during the install. We got our regular eMissionary shirt. What is the eMissionary? Long sleeves as well too, the Beyond the Four Walls, and then this is the cruise shirt. We hopefully like to get to the point where we start collecting these, because I want to have one of these every year. That's what we got going on. Also, some other great news, folks. Be on the lookout. I am thankful and humbled by the fact that I have been being featured as the inaugural guest for season 3 of the Boxcast podcast. So That's gonna be dropping pretty soon. So that's what's going on. So I'm really thankful to be a part of that. And that was the Boxcast stuff I told you that was coming up. So really thankful about that. But enough about me. Let's get to y'all. Now, normally I would go through and say hey to everybody, but I've been trying to respond to everybody so that way we can go straight into the questions. So if I missed you, folks, we got Mr. Live 305, hello. Corey, hello. Alistair, hello. Cares of the Covenant, hello. I already said Corey. Timo, hello. Mitch Roy, hello. Noemi, hello. Scott, hello. Scott was on the round table as well too. So let's get to the questions, folks, because I know by the time I respond, sometimes it's been late. So we're gonna get right into it. Cares of the Covenant. Good morning, AJ and everyone. AJ, where do you get the ATEM control software and how do you install it? 2, how can I remove audio from a video? And you done loaded your questions up. And then 3, if you are starting a one-man production stream, what camera would you get? PTZ, camcorder, DSLR to use with an ATEM? All right, let's first go to number 1 question that you have here. All of the ATEM software, and let's actually take that off and switch to this. To get to that, we're going to go to Blackmagic Design, go to Support, go to ATEM right here, and then there's your software. They just updated to version 9. I don't believe I'm using version 9. Oh, yes, I am. I did install it. So that is where you get the software from. So if we go back to your question, that's clear. Hold on. I got to bring your question back up. Oh, C. Anderson, my bad for not saying hello to you. Good morning, too. I missed that. And from Daniel, hello, hello. Oh, and I didn't go over that. I'll do that here in a second. That's where you get the control software. How do you remove audio from a video? There's a couple of ways that you do that. If you're using any video editing software, so like, for example, let me take that down. Let me open up DaVinci Resolve, and I'm going to open up and just show you. I mean, now this is with anything, any type of software. And while this is coming up, because I forgot, if you have any questions and I don't get to your questions, folks, you know you can email me at questions@ajhomes.com. Give me 48 to 72 hours to respond. And that is my email, questions@ajhomes.com. Also, with everything that we got going on, if you ever need any information, follow up, or some more extended time consultations on site, anything like that, tech support, you can book something with me. Go to ajhomes.com/consultations, and you can set up either one. All right. So with that gone, now DaVinci Resolve is up, and I'm going to open up. See, I made a new database for this year, so these are the videos that we had. So let me go to Rose Chapel, and the video stuff is going to show up as flagged because I actually just moved it on my network. So let me go to single screen, and let me move all of my stuff here because we relocated everything. Change source. That was, where's my drive? Right there. And that was yesterday. Yep. All right, so now all my videos here. So if you wanted to remove audio, I mean, technically, all you would really need to do in DaVinci Resolve, you got 2 ways. Like, say I take this one video. Let's make a new timeline. And say we have this video here. And I wanted to remove this audio. I mean, 2 things. In any video editor, you could do this. I would come in here, and I would go to audio and either turn it completely off. You could do that. Or come in here. I'm going to unlink these, and I'm actually just going to get rid of it. Those are the 2 ways that I can do that. And then a third way is if you come in here, DaVinci Resolve does this. I know Sony Vegas does this. Hit Film does this. I can come in here and do a custom like stream editing. And then see, it says export video. I can come in here and turn off export audio, and then it's nothing but video. All right. And then you had a part 3. The question was, if I was starting a one-man production stream, what camera would I do? PTZ, camcorder, DSLR. First, honestly, I would think about my budget. As much as I like PTZs, it depends. If I'm going to be, like when I was doing football games, I couldn't use a PTZ at the time because I didn't have one. And then even when I did get one, I had the cheaper ones that didn't have like ND filter sunglasses. So when it was a bright day, that PTZ didn't help me with anything. So I used the camcorder. But be mindful, first off, I'd never use a DSLR, never. Just because of the events that I do in streaming, DSLRs do not last very long. Even if you get a good one, you have to have an external power source. And sometimes they overheat. DSLRs are not meant for video. They shoot good video, but they are not good for long form content videos. That's why I don't understand why anybody, other people that talk about church stuff, they recommend DSLRs. They don't last. I mean, you have to shrink your service or you can only use it for a certain section. That's my personal opinion. I would go with a camcorder because camcorders are meant for long form content. No, you're not going to have this blurry bokeh like you see me have with my stuff. But when you're doing a stream, I don't think it's that important. That's just me. So you asked me if what I would do. I would start with the camcorder. Thank you so much, Brandon. And I still left all the stuff on. So for the notifications, that's from Streamlabs, if y'all wanted to know. That's, you register an account, it looks at your YouTube channel and it sends that. I need to shrink it so it doesn't take over the whole screen. But thank you so much, Brandon, for the super chat donation. That's what I would do. I would start with a camcorder, and that's what I would plug into an A10. But realize a camcorder, I might be able to use it to zoom in and out, but moving it left and right, most of the time with a camcorder, I want to have it simple since it's one person. So the A10 would be straightforward, and I'm manning that one camera. That's what I would do. So hopefully that helps. Yeah. Now, what button is this on the floor? Yeah, there it goes. All right, let's see. What's the next one we got? I shared my email, so that's good. Let's see. We're on page 3. Tito, hello. Sorry if I didn't say anything about that. Anthony, what's going on? Sean Young, hello from Decatur, Illinois. Hello. Lamar, everybody. So just jumping to the next question. Mike did have an announcement on the Facebook group that there's an issue with Touch Portal. He's worked with that, and he's done a lot of stuff. So again, and that's a good segue because I didn't talk about that, is folks, jump on the Facebook group. It's like this all the time with over 2,900 media ministries from all over the world, where we're just here collectively coming together to try and help each other with our knowledge. As much as videos I try and drop, there's no way I can know everything or have my hands on everything or sample everything and all this other stuff. So that's what that group is for us to collaboratively work together to help all this other stuff with each other. Now, the other thing I want to say is, as nice as possible, and I've said this before, if you leave comments on videos, and this is just in general, and hopefully this is for y'all too, because you're going to have people leaving comments on your live stream. It's one thing to leave a comment to say, hey, you know, you might want to improve this, this, and this, but to do a 5-page dissertation telling everybody in my community that I don't know what I'm talking about when I tell y'all I don't know everything and let's learn it together, that I'm sorry, I won't tolerate that on my channel. So I'm not going to let this be a platform you just to say whatever. Now, it'd be one thing if you're saying I don't know anything and you have a reference so that I can learn better. But if you're sitting on YouTube with 1 subscriber, no videos at all to show that what you're talking about, and then you just rant and rave on the comments, no, you will be blocked. Your comment will be deleted, and we don't have time for that. We don't need, in our community and what we're doing, it's better to talk about how we can fix something and then just talk about what's not working. That doesn't help anything at all. So, forewarning, if you leave a comment like that, your stuff will disappear. And I do that for church as well, too. All right, let's go to page 3. Let's see. Lamar has a question here. Hey, AJ, my question is, how do I set up MIDI communication between my MacBook Air running multi-track loop community and Pro Presenter 7 running on my PC. They're on the same network. I'm not 100% sure because I haven't done that. I haven't messed with MIDI in a long time, and I've never done the integration with that. But I mean, I don't think MIDI would, this is just how far removed I am from it. I don't think MIDI communicates over the network. Normally the MIDI that I had, it was its own separate thing, unless there's MIDI over network or something like that, which again, I've been far removed from that, but I'm opening up Pro Presenter right now. Well, I was trying to. I don't know. Oh, there it goes. And then I have my Mac Mini over here. I might want to see if I can play around and dabble with trying to do something like that. I'm not 100% sure. So let's see. Preferences. And gotta be careful what's showing on here. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, to be quite honest. This is one of those things, Lamar, I might have to play around with some more. Well, I'm just not that familiar with doing that. This is the first time I've ever had anybody ask that question. So I might have to do some more research on that. But I want to throw this over to the community if y'all are familiar with doing something like that. In my mind, from the last time I would do MIDI, I thought the MIDI would be connected directly to the system that's running it, and it would go from there. Anthony, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. And it is super hot with all these lights and computers, so I just turned my fan on. So I'm not 100% sure on that one. So again, I'm going to throw that over to the community to see, do y'all have anything? And while that's happening, I'm going to do some more research to try and figure that out as well. Let's see. Ralph here. Good morning. How can I split the output of my ATEM mini video to feed downstairs necessary? Well, I mean, the easiest thing for you to do is just to put a splitter on it on the output. Now, which ATEM are you using? If you're using the ATEM Mini Pro, realize that if you do that, you're going to lose your multi-view. You're going to have nothing but the program out. And if you do that, all you have to do is do an output. Now, there is a workaround. If you have an ATEM Mini, you could have the HDMI out be your multi-view and then have the USB out going into a computer that has a secondary output. Like I've done it before here where, let's actually just go and show you. So if I open up OBS, so I have my ATEM going into this computer as well as my streaming system that is over there. So that's my streaming system. That's where you can see everything going on there. The second USB out is going to here. The first one is going to the computer right here in front of me. So if I cut over to OBS, you see it's going to loop forever because, I mean, that's how it's connected. Now, if I wanted to do an output, you would have the USB out from your ATEM Mini Pro go into any computer that has a secondary output. So this monitor that you're seeing is output number 1. I do have another monitor, which is going to be number 2. So you can come in OBS, link your capture device, your ATEM into here, and then in OBS, right click, and then you can do a output. So I'm gonna output it to here. So now if I cut over to input number 4, of course you're not gonna see it because it's going on to infinity because of what I have going on. So that's not a good example. How can I do that? Maybe I can do it just on this screen. No, that's going to loop it. It's going to give you a green screen. Let me just try it anyway. If I have it loop on itself, it's going to go to infinity. So you're going to see it start going green because of that. So this is the output that's coming from OBS. You would do the same thing, and that's what will feed the TV. That's how you could do it. But if you have anything else and you're using the ATEM Mini Pro or ATEM Mini, the base one, and you just want to have it out, just put a splitter on it. So for example, let's close this. And let's just go to our friendly neighborhood Amazon, and we just do a HDMI splitter because this is the same way I had this set up at Rose Chapel. this is the exact splitter that I've used. As you see, I've ordered it a bunch of times. You would just have the output go into the HDMI input, and now you have 4 other outs. You don't need to have a 1x8. You can do a 1x2, a 1x4, and a bunch of them. That's how you would do it. So hopefully that answers your question. And I'm on the wrong input. Monty was like 2 videos. Dude, I haven't been in front of my computer to do anything. I did 1 video last night. The Ori one I actually did, but I had to re-record it because the output wouldn't work with the ATEM. By the time I started to do that, I had to get on the road. So I finished and re-recorded that second part of the video last night, edited it, started editing the Rose Chapel one, finished that this morning at 4 o'clock in the morning because I woke up and I just couldn't go back to sleep. And good morning, Noemi, and good morning, Scott. I think I did say that, but yeah. Let's see what else we got over here. Timo. Hey, bro, could you show what is the best free way how to put lyrics and projections in stream through OBS Studio with or without an A10 Mini, and what is the best? Sure, I actually have a video going over that, but I will show that, and I should not have closed. I shouldn't have closed OBS. So one of the freest ways, and I still recommend this, is using Presenter. Presenter is by Worship Tools. It used to be called Easy Worship. Then Easy Worship became the company. Then Easy Worship became Worship Tools. And then they changed it from Worship Extreme to Presenter. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff. So if we cut over here right now, this is what we got, and I need to close all these extra screens. So this is Presenter, and I can come in here and put whatever. So like right now, let me change my output to the right one. I think I'm already set. So if I come here, yeah, I'm already set up. So I can come in here and I want to add scripture. So I can pick my background. So if I click here, I can change to whatever background I want. These are ones that they provide to you if you have the paid account, which I have one. They gave me one when I was doing videos earlier, so that's how I have that one. But the free one does the exact same thing. You can upload whatever stuff you want here for your background. So say I want to pick, I don't know, let's pick this one. We got that, and then we can come in here to scriptures, and you can pick whichever translation. Now, a lot of people like daily go to my website to get, because I like Presenter because it gives you the ability to import different translations as long as you can find the XML version of it. So on here, I've tried to collect a bunch of them so they're one place. Obviously, I don't charge for them. I just like to put them in one place. So you can come here to Bibles, and these are the ones that I have, and I've been trying to add more, and it looks like my link didn't do right. I actually have some more in here, but you would just download it, and then you can import them here into your Bibles and have different versions. But anyway, let's pick King James, do a scripture, Psalms 100. All right, so we got our scripture. I'm going to do the layout. So say that this is just full screen. We'll do it that way. So this is what it shows up. If I cut over for y'all to see what it looks like or what would go out, it would be this. That's what it shows up as. All right, so we got that. Now, my computer has multiple outputs, so I have a other one that's actually going out. Need 2 screens to do this. I have a video that shows you how to get a headless HDMI that will trick your computer into thinking you have a second monitor for this to work. All right, so we got that going on. Now let's open up OBS. Now let me turn this off so we're not going on to infinity. What we're gonna do is you can make another scene, which I'll actually do, and say this is scripture. Say that's the scene. Now, I want to obviously still capture audio because we want people to still hear. So I would bring in my capture device. So that's what we hear. So you see my audio is going down at the bottom. But then we're going to do a display capture. And actually, while I do that, I need to open this up on another computer so I can, well, actually, no, I can do it on the same computer. And we're going to say this is presenter. I'll just call it that. So now I need to pick which monitor that's going to be, which is the Blackmagic, and boom, there's my scripture. So I can say we're watching service right here. This is what you're streaming. And hey, we want to go into scripture. Boom, you click over to that other source and now people can see scripture. Now this will work the same way if this was another computer on the network. And this is where we talk about using NDI. So if I do, I have NDI tools installed on my computer right now. So if I turn this off, this is actually physically capturing the monitor that's on my network. So, and do I have it on my Mac? Let me see. I was trying to turn my other mic on, but it's not plugged in. So I'm gonna see. I don't think I have NDI tools on my Mac, so I can simulate it going over the network. But let me start up something on my other computer so you can see the same thing. It's the same screen. Hold on. All right, so I have screen capture running on another system that's on my network. So if I was doing the same thing and the computer was not physically connected, make sure you have all the plugins. I do have a video going over this as well too. We are now going to do an NDI source instead of a screen capture. And now I need to pick my source, which would be my other system over here. So let's do monitor number 1, which is nothing but vMix. But just know it will be the scripture the same way if you were running scripture software on there. And boom, that's how that would show. So if this was running scripture software on another computer on the network, works the same way. So let me move this up here. So it will be like, hey, we're in service. Let's cut over the scripture. Boom, there you go. That's how that will work. So hopefully that makes sense for you. All righty. Alistair here. Hi, why do you use Ryzen 5 in most of your builds over a 7? And what would be the best choice of parts for a live streaming video editing PC in 2023? Honestly, I go with a Ryzen 5 for most of the builds because it's more than enough power to handle a live streaming. I used to use a Ryzen 3, which was still more than enough, but the price has gone down with a Ryzen 5. And yes, sometimes I have used a Ryzen 7 5700G. I do that because it lowers the price from having to have a separate GPU as well as a CPU. That's the reason why mainly I stuck with the 5 and 7s. I haven't really been happy with the Intel ones with the GPUs included. And honestly, I just haven't had enough time and enough extra play money to just dive in and buy a bunch of Intel stuff to test it out. These are just systems I've been using. I've been using AMD processors since college, so 99, and I've been really happy with them. That's the reason why I stick with them. From a price to performance standpoint, when I was doing this, it was so much cheaper than going for Intel. That's the reason why. Now, your question of like what parts would you go with a live stream and video editing system? I would start with a Ryzen 7 5700G because it has the GPU inside of there, and that can do some light video editing. Now, if you plan on doing video editing above 1080p and you're going into 4K, I would still get that processor or go with a Ryzen 7 5700 or higher. Or if you really want to go for the gusto, you can go for the next gen version, which will require a brand new motherboard, DDR5. I have not built one of those systems yet. I plan on building one after I finish up a couple of projects when we have some extra play money to do something with that. But for me, from a video editing standpoint, I would get a RTX 2070 or higher, as long as it's affordable. Because again, I don't know what your budget is. The 2070 is what I have in my streaming system right now. That's running a Ryzen 5 right now, because actually I had a Ryzen 7 in there, but something was going on. I haven't had a chance to test it. I don't know if it was the CPU fan or whatever, but anyway, that's what I have in there. But I would go with a Ryzen 7 5700 or higher, RTX 2070 or higher, 16 gigabytes of memory minimum, preferably 64. Like my video editing system right now has 128, and that system has 64. That's what I would go with. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's see. Mr. Live 305 says, "Hey AJ, if I send you a camera for the cruise, would you give a review?" Sure, I'd love to. Mr. Live, how do you want me to message you? On here or whichever way? Honestly, I would say the easiest way is just for you to email me, or I can go to your page when I get a chance to look that up. But let me know which is the best way to contact you, and I'd love to check that out. Tito, thinking of getting a Mac Studio. I'm just messing with you. Studio. If I do, would I need to get a Stream Deck to connect to the ATEM Extreme? No, you don't. The ATEM is actually connected over USB-C cable. That's how I have my Mac connected to my ATEM Mini Pro. That's how mine is working, and that will be fine. So, no, and that reminds me, I didn't talk about it. Let me see. Let me open up my studio monitor. That way y'all can see this, because I actually upgraded. This has been my original capture card for 8 years. This is the Intensity Pro 4K. And I actually upgraded this because I really don't use it that much. Let me rephrase that. I do use it, but I don't use it as intended because better stuff has came out. So originally, the ATEM is connected to my streaming system over USB, and this has input and output. So the input would be an HDMI coming in from my ATEM. The program out would go here, and then the output fed an HDMI splitter, the same one that I showed y'all, and that split to all the stuff I have here. Earlier this week, I actually got the Decklink Mini Monitor HD, the newer one. And the reason I did that is because I've been migrating all of my stuff to a 10 gigabit network. So right now, my streaming system is on 10 gigabit. This system is on a 10 gigabit. My NASs are on a 10 gigabit, all of my workhorse stuff. So all of my video editing the media lives on my Synology, but I needed a faster network. I say all that to say that this system has a RTX 2070, and I don't have that many 16-channel PCIe slots. So I need something bigger for this. So this is what was plugged in. So the NIC that I used, my 10 gigabit, took this up, and then the mini monitor had a smaller connection. That's the reason I do it. So now my mini monitor is what y'all are seeing. It wasn't getting pushed out. So anyway, that was a long story, but that's what just made me think when you're talking about the Decklink. So that card still does work. That's actually going to get moved onto my OnCast system, OnCast server, when I can get another motherboard to get that up and running. Jerry, good morning from South Central North Dakota. Never been to any other Dakotas. Thank you for what you do. Your desire to teach and my desire to learn has made a successful video system for our church. Hey, awesome. I'm glad what I am doing is helping. Y'all don't know if y'all were on. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Dan, you missed everything, man. Like, we gave away Macs. I mean, we were giving away whole digital walls, everything. You missed it. Everybody got one except for you. I mean, no, you ain't missed nothing, man. MKM, how do you connect the A10 Mini to Mixer Audio? You just need to go through, I mean, you got a bunch of connections that you could use. And I can't reach it, mine, because I'm all the way over there. But it depends. Like right now, my mixer is connected to, well, both of my mixers is connected to my ATEM. I have with my X32, I have a dual XLR going to a 3.5 millimeter. That's what's plugged in. My Rodecaster 2 has a dual 1/4 inch to 3.5 connected here. And then at like Rose Chapel, they have an older mixer. So I have RCA, two RCA from the tape out going to a 3.5 millimeter, and that's plugged into the mic input jack. That's how you would connect those. Is one of those three is how that would work. And please do not connect your ATEM from the headphone out from your mixer into the ATEM. Don't do that. And again, Brandon, thank you for the super chat. And Sean, I would like to upgrade my transitions with my picture-in-picture and camera shots, something like your intro video with diamonds, or just to design my own transitions. Well, there's a couple of ways you could do that. The transitions that you saw at the beginning, that was actually an After Effects thing that I'm trying to figure out how to do this, because there is a way, and I did this in the video, and with the mini monitor, you could do this as well too, that you would have to use to do it dynamically live. You would need, how I would think, you would need some very heavy type stuff to do this live, some a graphics engine to run everything, your own custom stuff, or you would have to design it yourself, or like me, I would use DaVinci Resolve and use a mini monitor, which will allow you to output stuff live. I did a video talking about how to do this. So, and I did it simply where it was just animated lower thirds. So in the transition with the ATEM, you would need to cut over and make something like through a macro to where when you're transitioning, it cuts back over to the feed that's coming from your computer or whatever that you design. I mean, and I'm trying to figure it out while I'm explaining it to you. Because these are the same type of title engines that you see with professional games and stuff like that. That's being done live on the fly. There's an engine that I've used before when I was streaming gaming called Titler. It did something like that. Let me see. See if I can find it here. All right, so this is it. I keep forgetting to use the pedal. That's why I had it set up. So like this Titler Pro allows you to do graphics like this and all this other stuff live on the fly. And it's an engine that will actually produce this stuff. So I've played around with this, the free version, and I used it for the scoreboards and everything like that. So it gives you more dynamic stuff. And this is on the fly. But with that being said, if you want to use some of this, this is a one-time purchase, and everything is going to a SaaS model, as in software as a service. So I don't know if this is a one-time thing or you have to continually pay for it with an upgrade. I don't know. But again, it does a whole bunch of stuff. So you do animation, transition effects, exactly what you're talking about. This is what would do that. And it gives you way, way more functionality than the simple transitions that the ATEM has built in. So that's what I would recommend. And again, they have a free tutorial, a free download that you can play around with it. Titler demo. So I put that there in the chat. Blackbeat 3. Do you happen to have settings for the SMT AV PTZ cameras? Like what type of settings are you talking about? Image, motion, what type of stuff? Like typically what I do is I turn down the auto white balance, because if you have it too high, it will just start going crazy. And sometimes it will black out your image. And at first I got that. I thought I had a bad cable, but it was just the auto white balance was too high. Also adjust, if you really, really want to get fancy, change your auto white balance to manual, and then get those white balance cards that you might see people use in the movies to set the white balance at the beginning of the day. That can be problematic if you have a lot of windows in your church and the light changes throughout the day. that could be a problem. If you don't, I change it like Rose Chapel. I set all of the cameras to inside instead of outside. So hopefully they stay the same. But what other type of settings specifically were you talking about? MA16v3. MIDI typically communicates over its own discrete connection. That was what I thought. MA16, that's how I normally did it, so I didn't know if anything else had changed. Anthony, AJ, it's not much, but I really appreciate everything that you've done to help me and others in all forms of media. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Trying to see where I left off at. All right, that's page 2. Let's jump to page 1. Brian, PC doesn't have a built-in MIDI. The only way might be downloading RTP MIDI made by Tobias Erickson. I haven't heard of that. So that's RTP MIDI. Oh, come on now. RTP MIDI. So if we go here, check that out. Here, this is a virtual MIDI driver that allows DAW applications to communicate over a network. Interesting. That's what I thought. I might have to play around with that. Thank you, Brian, for that. See, stuff is changing so fast. That's why we need to work with each other, folks. There's no way everybody would know all of this stuff. Lamar, follow up to the question. MIDI setup for is under the Preferences tab, Devices, and it says MIDI map. Thank you. I will look into that and play around with this as well, too. I got my Fiji apple juice. A little parched there. Let me see. You got some stuff cut off here. MA16v3 is saying, have you looked into an updated DIY streaming bridge? Recent Raspberry Pi OS update has broken OMX player, and Aaron has not yet found a way to do it. Maybe using Linux VM. No, I haven't messed with it. The ones that I did for Spring Creek, I don't have them set to auto update. So they're still stuck at that version of Raspbian, whatever the OS is called. I don't know, I'm struggling to say it. I have it stuck there, so not really an issue, but no, I have not. Jim, I saw you were leaving something, but it cut. Oh, okay, I see it here. I get to you. Rodney, good afternoon. What do I use on a laptop to have a second laptop connection on a different subnet? You just typically just need another network card. So, for example, for my laptop, I use this that already has a network card, but here's my USB hub that happens to have a network on it. So it's USB-C, and it gives me an HDMI out card reader. This is what I take when I'm on trips and stuff like that. But this one does have a network. Or you can just get any type of USB network adapter, and it will work the same way, and you can set them independently. So like for right now, can I show this without anything crazy going on? Let me see. All right, so let me see. I need to hide a couple of things here. All right, like for example, my system right now. My system has multiple NICs. I don't know why this one is still here. That's when I used to use Surfshark. But see, there's my 10 gigabit one, and then my motherboard has a 2.5 gig and a regular gigabit one on there right now, and then I can set these independently. Originally, my 10 gigabit was on a completely different network so that it was just talking. Everything that was 10 gigabit, they could just talk on their own thing. And I might still do that now that my other system is on that. But this was my regular, and then this would be separate, and I could do that same way. Wi-Fi will work the same way. So if I came in here, I could always change that stuff. So, and I shouldn't have clicked on that. But yeah, that's how it will work the same way. over here. Sean, love the programming for the Premiere and multi-viewer video drop right before the live stream. What was your mindset on doing that? Just playing around with it because I wanted to see how it worked and pushed it out. That was mainly it. That was the only thought I really gave to it. Jim, should the resolution and frame rates on the PTZ cameras match the OBS res and frame rate output settings for your stream? Ideally, yes, it should. It just makes it, if you have to change the resolution in OBS, that's giving it more work because it has to change the resolution of what's coming in to match. That's what used to happen when I did at Antioch, when we were using the original ATEM that only supported 1080i 5994. And because it couldn't keep up, people were moving faster on the pulpit. You could see those lines. So I ended up changing OBS and put more horsepower into the system to change that 1080p and upscale it. 1080i and upscale it to 1080p. The system was fast enough, but it did put more work on it. Now, if you have them all the same, then it just passes it through. Roger, hey AJ, what's your recommended 4K live streaming setup? I mean, right now I'm not doing it, but the system I'm using right now can live stream in 4K, and I used to. I'm not streaming with the web presenter because I haven't had a chance to test it. It's something that's been kind of funky with that when I've been live streaming. I don't know if it's something with my network or something because it's just been acting up all of a sudden. But my system right now could. The main thing, even if you went as low as like a GTX 1660, depending on the bandwidth and your CPU that's paired with it, technically that can handle 4K streaming as long as you're not doing something crazy with like, oh, I want to have 50,000 bit rate going into every second. Like, you'll crush your system unless you have enough CPU horsepower to handle that in the GPU. The main thing in all of that, outside of your CPU, GPU, memory is not that much of a concern when it comes to live streaming. The memory is more of just running the software and everything that you got in place. The main thing is to make sure that your upload speed can handle that consistently, whatever you're throwing at it. So if I set mine at 50,000, my upload speed is at 500 megabits a second. It could handle it. Even if my internet dropped by half, I still am 5 times more than what I'm sending. That's what you need to be aware of. But from a spec standpoint, that's when I would say a Ryzen 7 or Intel equivalent or higher, definitely get a GPU and don't push all that stuff on that CPU to try and handle the operating system and the encoding. Let that dedicated handle it, and I think that should be good for you. Yeah, and then MA16 said the same thing I was saying. Yeah, memorize the scaling. Yep. Carriers of the Covenant. What is the video that tricks your computer to think you have another monitor? That is a headless HDMI or any type of, like if you still have a VGA adapter, HDMI to VGA, since HDMI is purely digital, it's going to send a signal. That's that EDID stuff that I was talking about. But if you have a headless HDMI, it has some wiring in there to tell the computer as if it's a real monitor when it's not. So something like this, it will trick your computer into thinking something is there, and it sends the signal to it. So your computer will say, oh yeah, you do have something here. So if I minimize all of this, let me close some of this stuff. So typically when you would come in here, go to your display settings, like right now, you see the 4 monitors I have. Each one of these sends a signal back to your computer to say, these are the supported resolutions, all right? Now, with a headless HDMI, now, if you don't have anything connected, that's why it says you only have 1 monitor. There's not anything communicating or tricking the operating system. This is for Mac or Windows. There's nothing tricking the operating system to say that you have another monitor or you physically don't have another monitor to communicate that. That headless HDMI will do that. Now, VGA connections, if you still have a VGA connection, there is no digital signal. So as long you can set that to almost anything. So that's what that would do. So that little headless HDMI thing is like dirt cheap. I mean, you can get, honestly, I would say get this one because you can get 3 of them for less, $1 less than that. But it just plugs in and it just tricks your computer into thinking you actually have a monitor when you don't. And that's it. Sean would also like to know, also, do you recommend OBS over using the A10 Mini Extreme ISO for streaming? And do you recommend using a 3.5 for audio or something else? Second question first, 3.5, because that's honestly the easiest way to connect. I don't want to do it over HDMI personally. And it all depends. Originally at Signs and Wonders, we were streaming from the A10. Worked perfectly fine. The only reason we introduced OBS, it gave us another gateway so that we can separate the people who are watching online with what's going on. Because if we were streaming with the ATEM, we had to stop everything in the sanctuary, audio and everything, because that's what was feeding all of the monitors and our live stream. All of them showed everything at the exact same time. But if we wanted to, I brought OBS back in so that we can do whatever we wanted to with the ATEM. It's freed up, but then OBS was, again, the door to allow when we wanted everybody to see it. So it all depends. We started with the ATEM mainly from a simplicity standpoint, because I'm still working on having a bunch of people so I can train them so I can technically not be there. Like, again, I'm not going to be at my church for the next 3 weeks. So I'm here for the day, then I'm gone. And then next weekend and the weekend after that. And actually, I think I might be gone this entire month. Just some other stuff has popped up. But it's from a simplicity standpoint. The ATEM just allowed me to have it set up. All they have to do is hit on air. That's it. OBS is simple as well, too, but there's a little bit more things that you have to do. So hopefully that makes sense. John, somehow I missed the notification, so I'm late. Hey, John, hey, you were good. I was showing everybody. I need to flip it around so y'all can see the design as well, too. So let's cut back over. I'm still on this camera. The shirt design here. Let me get back and show you the back of it. All right, so someone on a mission to share God's word with any form of modern technology, taking time off with Royal Caribbean on the Liberty of the Seas, April 24th through the 28th. So that's what we got. I took that part from what John's wife said, and we added a little bit to it. So again, thank you, y'all, for helping me with that. Daniel, I already know where it's going. Yes, get the Mac Studio so that AJ. Let's see. Philip Paul. Hey, AJ, what is the easier way to monitor my program audio from the ATEM Mini Pro? Honestly, to monitor as in listen to it is to get either hook it up to a monitor that has sound out. That's why if you ever see, there's a method to my madness. Every time when you see me do these systems, I always use the Spectre monitors. First off, they're very cost effective and they include speakers inside of the monitor. So when I hook up the ATEM to that, I can turn the volume up or down and I can hear it directly from there. Or that monitor has a headphone jack, so I can plug it in that way. That would be the easier way. Or you can get an audio extractor that sits, you plug the HDMI into that. It gives you audio out that you can monitor it, and then another HDMI to pass back through to whatever you're doing. That would be the easiest. And those go for like, hold on. Let me look up here. HDMI audio extractor. So these, I've used these before. And you can get them as low as like 20 lickups. So you'll plug it in. You can have headphones right there, HDMI out, and it just passes through. That's what I've used before. So I will put a link to that. Cool. Lada Total. Hope I'm pronouncing that wrong. From Portugal. Hey, thanks for stopping by. Mom's video was going on. Good morning from the San Francisco Bay Area. I got to get to San Francisco. Have you had a chance to play with the Canon G70? No, I have not. No, I have not. The most I've messed with is the G50. Let's see. All right, page 1. Victor. Morning. I'm trying to add a line into OBS from my board to back of the computer. Sound is muffy. Now you're saying you're trying to add a line into the OBS. So you're pulling from your board into the line in. Now, if you're going to do that, just like with the ATEM, what you need to do, well, if you're plugging into the line in on the back of your computer, you shouldn't have that much of an issue with that. But let's see. I'm trying to pull up my settings because they always move it all over the place. So if you are plugging that in, you want to make sure that you have a line in, and I don't have nothing plugged into mine. That's why it's not going to show. But you need to adjust the mic. So say I'll use this one here. You want to make sure you want to do some adjustments on here. You don't want to max this out. You want to kind of throttle that back and turn down the line for that. But if you're saying it's muffled and the sound is bad, what I would do, where is it? I normally have my hum eliminator here. I don't know where it is. Watch, I'll probably find it right when we finish talking about it. But anyway, I would add the hum eliminator. But again, I need to, I guess, first hear exactly what you're talking about when you're saying the sound is like that. Because it's a big difference. It could be RF or it just could be muffled. I need to actually hear it to actually give more direction for it. So hopefully you can send me an email with a sample of that or a link to it, and then I can follow back up and give you kind of a more clear direction of what I think of what it would be. Let's go with page 1. Jerry, could you recommend a low latency HDMI switch, 2 in, 1 out? Let me see. I've been really happy with the Aura ones, but let me see. So we're looking for a switch, so not a splitter. All right, so this one, strange, is an 8K. I don't know if you would need that, but this is one here for a switch that will allow, it has 2 ins and 1 out. So I will put a link there for you. And no, I'm breaking my rule. I'm recommending, because I don't have a switch. I've never tested one of these, but I've used more than enough of Aura stuff that I trust the stuff that they're using. So I recommend that. But again, you can always return it if it's not working for you. So I'll put that in the chat there for you. Where we leave off at. All right, Mike, thank you. Have a good one as well. Anthony, hey, AJ, what kind of PTZ can be used to 125 feet from the back of the church to the front? Ooh. I personally have not seen anything higher than a 30X, but let's see. Trying to see. I mean, they got some, ooh, Lord. There's a 40X Sony here, but it is a price jump right there. It's a 40X. Man, you can buy 2 PTZs and a joystick at that price. But hey, I don't know of the ones that I've used. I've never seen them go up to 40x, but I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to say without me actually doing it at that distance and testing. Now, actually, let me take that back because at Epworth is about 110 in depth. And we use a 30x and we can go all the way to the wall. All the way to the wall at the sanctuary is about 125. So I would say maybe a 30x would work with that. Jonathan wants to know, what is the best alternative for Pro Presenter? I personally think Presenter because it's free. I would try that, and at least by using that, it will give you a gauge on what you do and you don't like, and it can kind of point you in a different direction. There's also OpenLP. There's a bunch of free ones out there. Anybody in the community can recommend, because we have a wide range of people who've used a bunch of stuff as well too. Philip Pohl, AJ, the mini PC dual core or quad core, is it enough to run Facebook live stream page if it has a GPU? Don't get anything that is dual core. That is outdated. Don't use that for anything. Quad core and higher. And again, streaming, mainly make sure when you do that quad core, or I mean, if it was a CPU only, I would say at least 6 cores or higher should be enough, because you need enough for it to encode as well as running the system. But if you did have a system, make sure it has a GPU and push all the encoding for the live streaming onto the GPU. But do not do a dual core. Do not. Jim, you are welcome. Have you ever posted a video where you're setting up the A10 Mini to mix your audio on your channel? Yes, I have. I have one where I did beginning to end video as if it was brand new for a church. Let me see. I thought I had that on the front. Yeah, actually, it's on the front of the page. This whole thing right here, complete church live streaming beginner setup, going through everything, overview, the computer, connecting the projectors, as well as doing how to get great audio. So this one would go over that. And that was at my old church's chapel when they had nothing. So it was like everything was empty and we were doing everything from the beginning. I also have other videos just talking about connecting audio and stuff like that for your live stream as well too. Jay Garcia, 916. Hey, AJ, what do you think of the Intel Arc A380 for a PC build? $140 with AV1 encoding. I haven't heard. Last time I heard about that, that GPU, it wasn't that great. I don't know, but again, these were first test samples, so I don't know if they've been improved or not. The last update I've seen. So I'll put it this way, just glancing over it again without me really looking at it, I'm just looking at the images. A cool compact graphics card you probably shouldn't buy right now. Switching to Intel Arc, and then you got looking at their expressions from Linus, I would assume no. So again, I might have to check out some of these other ones because I personally haven't messed with them at all, and I want to see what their performance is. So kind of hard giving it. I don't know. Like I said, I might have to get one and play around with it and just to see personally firsthand instead of going on some other folks. Maybe I need to get back into testing out some of this other stuff as well too. We've been so busy doing installs, really haven't had a chance to really test out hardware like that. But I guess that's the blessing of getting a lot of business doing installs. Angel, could you recommend a mic for the pastor's headset for low budget to medium budget, please? What is the price range? Because there's a varying amounts that it can go through that. Give me a price range and I'll give you suggestions what I did with my pastor. Well, I'll give you the first one, what I got him. And we've since changed this mainly for a different headset for him. So originally, for Pastor and Dr. Laura, this is what I got them. So this is $160 for a headset and a handheld. She had the handheld, he had the headset, and it worked fine. But the headset, my pastor moves it a lot, and then it started to get wiggled loose. So I ended up getting him a Countryman headset, and it's a lot stiffer, and he's been a lot happier with that. But this is what I started with, and we were using this for about 6 months to almost a year, because we've been there at the church for almost a year. And I just recently changed him to a Shure and Countryman headset about a month ago. So that would be my suggestion. And I mean, it works great. It was just, and we, Dr. Laura still uses her mic for everything. So nothing the matter with it. It was just, I wanted to get him another headset to plug in with that one, but I couldn't find, the Countryman didn't come with an adapter that would work with the GTD audio. So that's why I got something different. MA16V3, I need to rebuild our remote guest speaker setup. Any recommendations on sending back a mix minus for the guest so they can hear in real time the pastor? I mean, honestly, I mean, what is it going, guest speaker setup? So is it actually a speaker? Is it going to be in ears or something like that? Give me a little bit more direction so I make sure I'm not missing what you're saying. Matt, we've had several instances where all the button options on vMix simply disappear and don't come back until we restart, which we obviously can't do during the stream. Any idea? Matt, I don't know. I've never had that, which makes me wonder, is it only being experienced in the program, or are you noticing when that happens is something else happening at the same time on different programs on your computer? But I've never seen that, so I really don't know. Back to A16. Perhaps how to get a mix minus feed from the X32 back into the PC and then whatever communication software we're using. I'm gonna have to play around with that. I'm thinking that is possible. That's one of your post-fade, pre-fade, whatever, which one, I don't recall right now. You can do that and then route that in a different way. That's possible. John said, your wife got the same color. Hey, so at this point, I think y'all have one. I have one. Pastor Alicia has one. I think I saw somebody else ordered a couple more. I would really like everybody to have one. I'm trying to get my sister and brother-in-law, because they're going as well too, to get one. I don't know if they ordered one or not. I didn't look to see, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Call me the crazy dreamer of wanting to try something different. I mean, I think that's, I'm trying to avoid going down the rabbit hole of typical stuff that we would talk about. I mean, it's just one of those things, man. It's like, I don't know if it's anybody else, but it's kind of hard for me to even put into words. It's like, there's so much stuff that I'd like to do, and it says that he gives you the desires of your heart. And I'm just like, why in the world would we have a desire for anything if it wasn't possible? God's not a deadbeat dad. Why would he tease you with something that is impossible for you to do? That's at least my mind. And honestly, that's a lot of stuff I'm battling with right now, just because, yeah. Anyway, I'll leave that one alone. Back to Sean. Great. I noticed that when I listen to my headphone jack of my ISO Extreme, the volume is very different from what Facebook is projecting. The ATEM can be just right, but Facebook is trash. Facebook on mine still does this. From my ATEM and from OBS. For whatever reason, Facebook speeds up my audio and distorts the audio. I still get that. That's something on Facebook side, to be quite honest, I think. But I could be wrong. Scott, the Ori 1x4 HDMI splitter extender you demoed, are the receivers PoE or do they have to be powered? They are PoE. Philip Paul, yes, it does. Like, for example, I'm going to see if I can blow y'all's ears out real quick. So if I switch to this, and my TV is down. So testing. Testing, 1, 2. Let me see. That's coming from it. That's all coming from the TV. So let me turn it up a little bit more. Can you hear me? That stayed on way too long. So my bad. So yes, the HDMI out does send audio as well too. So again, my apologies. I didn't mean it to get that loud. Victor, this Saturday I'm gonna be on the road, so that's not gonna be possible. I don't have anything on Mondays because I take that day off to try and relax. But if you email, you can talk with D, and D can manually do something if that's needed. TT, how do I mute the sound on my laptop and just use the house sound? I stream with OBS. You most likely, if you're hearing that, you have desktop sound set up. So and I knew I shouldn't have closed this. Let me go back to OBS real quick. And if we come over here, if you want to mute this sound, like you see right now, all I have is just the audio coming from my ATEM. It's what's being fed in. Most likely, if you are getting desktop sound as well too, under audio, you have this enabled. And then typically, OBS comes like this. And you'll get some crazy audio like this. And you'll capture all of the sound coming from your computer as well too. So that's why I come in here in the settings and on audio, I set everything to disabled. And then the only time I would bring in audio is if I wanted that audio on that scene. Because that setting that I just changed, that's global. That goes everywhere. That's why I want that off, because I don't want audio everywhere. I want audio only where I want it to be. Back to MA16. The AV1 encoder decode performance on the ARC cards are really good. If you just wanted to use as an AV1 accelerator, would be awesome as a gaming or production card. Yeah, I might have to play around with that. I might have to. But thank you for that. So Matt was saying with the disappearing buttons, it's only in vMix. Nah, I have not heard of that at all. I'm gonna have to do some research on that one, that Matt. So I'm not sure. Back to Philip Paul. Regarding my question about the mini PC, the Facebook live stream page, but streaming from the ATEM, any thought on the Intel N5095? Let's look those up because I don't know off the top of my head. That is the Intel N5095. Let's see. And then, that's a Celeron. No. That's 4 cores, but again, you need some more horsepower than that. The Celerons are just like AMD used to have the Durons. The Celerons are like the only thing lower than those are the Atom processors. Those are for more like very, very compact devices like NASes and stuff like that, like Internet of Things type of systems that need small processors. The Celeron here is good for maybe like surfing the web, doing email, word processing, and stuff like that. I would try and at least go with a Pentium. If you're going to go in that range, I would not mess with the Celeron. Now, the other one that you were talking about, well, no, that's the same thing. You said an Intel mini PC. Well, I mean, the Intel i5, it depends on what type of processor that is. So it's kind of hard to say without knowing the exact one. Indy wants to know, guest speaker real time, is that possible? Somewhat. I mean, it's not going to be real time. It's going to be maybe up to a 2 to 15-second delay. I mean, it's about going to be as real time. You can get as real time as Zoom. So not really that bad. I mean, vMix has vMix Call that does pretty fast. OBS Ninja does some other stuff. Or like we'll just capture Zoom inside of OBS and that could work as well too. You can do Google Meet. You can do Teams. Any one of those should work. You're still going to have a little bit of delay, but it's not going to be like you see when you see the correspondents on the news talk and it's like a 10-second delay. They're like, so John, what do you think about what's going on over there in Afghanistan? Yeah, Susie. I mean, it ain't going to be nothing like that. But hopefully that'll work. G. Garcia again. Intel cards are not good for gaming, but it is a dedicated encoder. Would be perfect for cheap streaming. Maybe for a Pro Presenter build. Like I said, I'll look into those. Thank y'all for that. Print Tech. Using PTZ cameras with video coming into OBS via RTSP and streaming over Zoom. Video fine, but audio from the mixer into the computer is out of sync with video. Any thoughts on how this may be improved? That is the nature of doing it that way, because it's being sent over your network. So you're going to have to sync it. Now, if you didn't want to sync it, I don't know how many cameras you have. You could have the audio going into the camera, so it's sending the video and audio at the same time over the network. But inherently, that is going to happen because there's going to be a delay. You could, you're still going to have to do some type of syncing, or have something in place to capture that. I mean, what I would think, my suggestion in that scenario, because again, I don't know your setup, but if it was ideal, personally, I wouldn't send a video over network at all, or I would move it to, let me go back what I was really saying. If you had easy access to it, I would connect all of them to a physical switcher and then have the audio plug into that switcher and let the switcher do the syncing and then send that over, that output like I'm doing right now. My ATEM is doing all of the syncing and then it's just sending the video and audio over to OBS or vMix. That's what I would do in that scenario. Because if you don't, because the audio is coming faster because it's a direct connection over it and having to be sent over your network. You could try NDI, but again, you're still going to have to do some type of syncing. Tito, thanks for stopping by. Have a great weekend as well. Indeed. Yeah, Facebook is not really a media production platform, but we use it for such. Yeah. Anthony wants to know what is my contact, and that contact again is questions@ajhomes.com. I'm actually going to shut it down here in a little bit, folks, just because I got a lot of stuff I got to run around. So I'm going to do this last question, and then we're going to be shutting it down for the day. Back to Philip Paul. AJ, what is the specs to run Pro Presenter and one extended monitor, mainly to run the countdown timer local, or any talk back to stage? Honestly, if you went with just Keith, thank you so much for the super chat. And I'm waiting for that to pop up here in a second. Well, right when I start talking, that's when it's going to pop up. I'm going to do Dante's last question after that, and then we're going to shut it down. But honestly, there it goes. I told you right when I started talking it was going to happen. But, I mean, the specs on that are not going to be as strenuous as a streaming system. But if you went with a streaming system specs, you would have more than enough horsepower. The main situation, what you need is to have a graphics card that can handle the amount of outputs that you want to have. One for being able to view, one for the audience, one for a stage display, 3 at least. 16 gigs of memory or higher, a 4-core Pentium, or preferably a 6 or 8 core would be better. Again, you don't buy when y'all are looking at getting the systems. I understand that sometimes money is tight. Don't get a system that just meets your specs. Every time when I recommend a system, it's always it can handle what the task is, but it can handle more. in the future. Like right now, I have a Ryzen 9 right now. This system is not being pushed to its limits in no way, shape, or form, even with all the stuff that I do. I still have way more headroom. That's what you need to do when it comes to your systems, because if you just buy the system that's just barely able to, just barely over the specs of what you need, and that's just a tip. When you look at the specs for anything, those specs are just to get the thing running, not running in a functional way. It's just that what is the minimum that's needed to run. But that's really not ideal. So you want to get more specs so that way it lasts longer. Again, I've been gone from Antioch for over a year now, and those systems are Ryzen 5 1500s. And they're still not pushing those systems to their limit no time soon, just because they're not trying to do anything else with the systems outside of streaming, running ProPresenter, you know? So, but the thing is, those systems are capable. If they ever decided to do more, it could handle it. So that was just my thought. Let's get through these last three. The last three, and I'm not getting more after that. Well, actually, it's three. Yeah. I'll tell you. Hey, any idea on how to show two different custom lower thirds going to two different screens on ProPresenter 7? Also, thanks for the help in the last week. It'll be the exact same thing. When you do your lower third, mark one as an announcement and have that announcement go to the other one. That's how you can separate it. That content can work either way. It's just how you flag it. Flag one as a presentation, flag the other one as an announcement, mark the screen and a look for which way it should go, and then that will allow you to do two different ones. Cares of the Covenant. Are you saying using the ATEM you have no sync challenges? No, because you're not seeing any sync challenges right now, and everything is coming from the ATEM. All of my videos come that way. I'm about ready to sneeze. John, thanks for the multi-view review. I think you gave me a solution for a ministry with 3 cameras. Awesome. Glad it helped. Last one. Oh, this is actually the chat. Do we use ProPresenter in OBS? You could. I mean, that was kind of like what I just showed. Even though I use Presenter, it worked the same way in OBS. So hopefully, yeah, I guess that was a question for everybody as well, too. But thank you so much, folks. We had some more Patreon supporters that I've added to the list. So thank y'all so much for that. Your continued support is very, very much appreciated. And there's my sneeze. It's right there on the edge. Ooh, excuse me. Thank you. But thank y'all so much, supporters, Patreon supporters, YouTube members. You can become a YouTube member by clicking the join button down below, or you can become a Patreon supporter by going to patreon.com/AJaytheCEO. No matter which way you pick, folks, hey, you're helping us train media ministries all over the world. And as a thank you, all Patreon and YouTube members are added twice into our giveaways. Out of all the giveaways we've had, I mean, I think 50% of the people who won were Patreon or YouTube member supporters, because it's random, but y'all get entered twice as much as everybody else. So again, thank you so much. Larry responded back. Like I said, I got this other stuff here. The only thing that's missing is the joysticks are back ordered. So his joystick and the multi-view. Well, I can't remember. I don't think the multi-view was included in that one. I can't remember. But if I just get the joystick, we can ship everything out, because the PTZ and everything is right here on the floor. I just got to I'm going to make some custom Ethernet cables to make everything work fine for them. But anyway, thank you so much, folks. And if nobody's ever told you, thank you for everything that you're doing. You're not always told as much as I wish we were told how much we appreciate it, but, you know, y'all got this, and I thank you for everything that you're doing. I'm not a part of your ministry, but guess what? You're in the battle fighting, and what you're doing is important. You're reaching people that I'm not able to reach, and that's what it's all about. It's not about me reaching everybody. It's about us reaching everybody. Thank you so much, and I hope the little stuff that I do here makes your journey a little bit easier. I hope y'all have a great day, evening, afternoon, wherever you is, and we'll be catching y'all in the next video, folks, later.